Hi everyone, you have tuned into Quantum Leap TV and I am Karen Clark. Welcome. I am the creator and presenter of Quantum Leap TV, which is sponsored by Clarkashians & Co, my coaching company. And we are tonight going to talk about, this is session 8 by the way, and we're going to talk about one of the biggest untrue beliefs that we have, which is fear. Let's give an example of this. So you've decided to take a leap, do something different, expand a part of your life or your business, learn something new, get married, whatever the decision is, and then the fear kicks in. Now, there are two types of fear. There's the fear that just ticks away, bringing up the negative dialogue, bringing up the doubt, and just probably stopping you from doing a lot of things. And then there's the fear that really gets a physical reaction, causes the adrenaline to start being produced, it causes you to be shallow breathing, your heart pumping, you might want to go to the toilet, you might feel sick, and it's a real physical reaction. And I want to just tell you about a couple of examples here. I was actually talking to a friend just today about the fear that causes the physical reaction. And that was to do with her having to take her daughter to the dentist to have a tooth extracted. And the daughter was very, very afraid. And also the mother was very, very unsettled about it too. And she actually said to me that her fear of the dentist came from her mother, because her mother was also very afraid of the dentist and did not like going. And I said, that's really interesting, because for me, I never had a problem going to the dentist. I was never afraid of it. And I believe the reason for that was because my mother never had a problem with it. She's just make nothing of it and, say it doesn't hurt and, it's not a problem, and you just go to the dentist like you just go to the doctor to get a prescription or something. And so I've never had a fear of going to the dentist. And for me, going to the dentist has never been traumatic, even if I've had to have teeth drilled or a bridge or a crown or a root canal or anything like that. It's never been traumatic. And I want to talk to you also about another thing that happened to me to do with fear. And that was, I was on a boot camp with a company that I was partnering with a number of years ago. And so we had these outside team building exercises that we had to do. And we all got put into groups, and I was in a group with some people where we found out what our challenge was. And it was 2 lampposts, one on top of the other. And on these lampposts there were footholds about every 18 inches apart, and we had to climb this lamppost a bit like a monkey, shimmy up the lamppost, putting our feet on these footholds that were on either side of the lamppost. And we had to climb the double height of the two lampposts. And not only that, when we got to the top, we had to stand up completely unsupported at the top of the lamppost, second lamppost. And not only that, there was a big ball suspended in the air at the top, about 1 metre away from the top of the lamppost. And we had to launch ourselves off the top of the lamppost and hit the ball. And at that point, we had harnesses on, and the people on the ground would pull the ropes and hold us in the air at that point where we launched ourselves off and hit this ball. They would hold us tight, and then they would lower us down gently. And I watched this, and I saw the first 2 or 3 people do it. And at the time, I was also a motorcyclist. And I used to ride with some guys, including my brother. And I had a sports bike, and they had super bikes, which were like racing bikes with indicators that you ride on the road. And we had a lot of fun. We used to ride on the back roads of New Zealand, and we used to pretty much treat it like a racetrack. So we would challenge ourselves to to take the most difficult, windiest roads off the main roads and just really ride fast, always safe, but very, very fast, and that was our fun time. And so I looked at this challenge and I thought, this is not scary. You know, I'm a motorcyclist. I ride fast on the road and I do way more scary things than that. You know, I need much more courage to do what I do on a motorcycle. So I go up to have my turn and I'm quite confident, and I start climbing up the first lamppost. And I'm probably only a third of the way up. And the lampposts they just move a little bit, you know, they just sway a little bit. And my heart starts beating a bit faster. And then I get further up and my heart starts beating a lot faster. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? You know I'm safe, and yet I can't control this physical reaction. And the higher I go, the more the lampposts are just swaying a bit. The higher I go, and I didn't think I had a fear of heights, the higher I go, the more out of control this physical reaction got. And to the point where I felt like my heart was going to jump out of my body. And, you know, I was terrified. And when I got to the top rung where I would have to have nothing to hold on to, I sort of looked down at the people because they're all there cheering you on. And I'm like, what do I do now? And they say, come on, keep going. And I really, really felt afraid, even though I knew that I was safe. I knew I had a harness on. I really trusted the people who were holding the ropes and were doing it. And yet I could not control this physical reaction. To the point where I got to the top, I actually stepped up on top of the second lamppost, so I had nothing to hold on to. And I just launched myself at the same time because I was so uncontrollably afraid that I just stepped up onto the top and launched myself and hit the ball thing, and then they grabbed me and pulled the ropes, and then it was all over, and I was very safely, securely suspended in the air and let down. And so my point about this is that, you know, the fear is very real, but the thought and the belief around what causes the fear is totally not true. I knew I was safe. I had nothing to be afraid of, and yet I could not control that reaction in my body. I wasn't even having thoughts, actually, of anything scary, but I couldn't control that reaction in my body. And so it's like that with the dentist, it's like that with exams, it's like that with a number of things that we do in our lives. And the important thing to understand here is to recognize that we will have fear. And sometimes we'll even have it to the extent of the physical reaction. And yet, we don't have to let it stop us. Because if we're feeling fear, we're growing. If we're feeling fear, we're expanding a part of our lives. If we're feeling fear, we're learning. We're having an experience that is outside of our comfort zone. It means we're on the growing edge of something more, something better, something bigger. So, you know, befriend your fear and learn to work with it. Learn to understand it. And learn to know that if you are feeling afraid, it's a good thing. Even if you've got the adrenaline going in many occasions, it's a good thing because it helps you to perform. So that's my story for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what your fear is, what you feel fear around. And the person who sends me the most interesting thing that they feel fear around will receive a completely complimentary session with me of an hour going through what your vision would be if you weren't fearful to take that next step. That's me for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, tell others about it. And I look forward to seeing you in a week at 7:10 next Wednesday night. Karen Clark, Quantum Leap TV, empowering fempreneurs and becoming extraordinary leaders. Bye.